Welcome back to the channel. Today, guys, we're heading over to Fit Media channel for their video called Top Trainers Agree. These are the 10 best exercises for building a bigger back. Top trainers agree, and I'm not sure that I was included in this, so we're gonna see if these are some of your best top exercises for training the back. And let's have some fun with this one. Let's go.
Pulling down, pulling in,
it's a remix here.
pulling up, pulling over,
pulling down.
These are the top 10
pulling. Sorry, what was it? Pulling down, pulling in, pulling up, pulling over. Ha ha! Like this already started. Number one, let's go.
The best starter for your back workout, according to our expert trainers, is the body weight pull-up.
Guess that'll be number one for me, for sure. Like I said, when it comes to exercise for me that are gonna be your top 10, it's going to be based on a few things. Number one, people can do them. Most people can do them. They're easy to progressive overload, and they're gonna give you the most amount of stretch. The cues here, which I'm not a fan of, are...
Take a wide grip, pulling the body up so the chin comes level with the bar.
No, the wider your hands are, the less range of motion you get. When we're talking about lat pull down, we're talking about anything when it comes to back. It's when the arm comes to the side. My arm going from here all the way down this way, or from here coming down this way. So the further my hands are, the less range of motion I'm gonna have. Because if my hands are this wide and I do a pull up and my chin goes up, I'm only getting this high. We want a little bit like, you know, outside shoulder apart. And when you do your pull-up, the cue isn't to get your chin over the bar, because the chin over the bar makes you do all this stuff, and you're like just trying to reach the bar up. You want to greet your chest to the bar. Either way, number one exercise there, I do agree, great exercise to do. Starting off pretty good.
Another reason the body weight pull-up is recommended by our trainers is because of key variations. Neutral grip, hands facing each other, a more natural movement, bringing the shoulder blades together.
Yes, I agree.
Or extra wide, working more on the outside of the lats.
No, again, no. That's not it. That's not it. Well, don't go wide. From my journey in the fitness industry, my journey to health and wellness, professional bodybuilder and top 5 mass Olympian, I'm a X, Y, and Z. My job is to give you guys advice on what is necessary to build muscle. That's my job. So I'm gonna look through this and be like, no, or yes. I'm gonna give you guys honest truth about this. I'm gonna give you guys my honest opinion. Here's the difference between grip. Grip means this. When my hands are this way, more of my forearm is gonna be used, not a much bicep, but less bicep, I would say more difficult to pull. The closer I get in, the easier it is, because guess what? Now I'm using my bicep here for neutral grip, and then I'm also using my forearm as well too. Now, if I go underhand grip, I'm using less forearm and a lot more bicep. So that's why most people can pull a lot more with either this or this and less of this. That's the only difference. Regardless, whether you're here, here, or here, full range of motion is key. So going super wide isn't gonna, no, right? Ready for maximum gains and sustainable results? Well, get your copy of the Ultimate Push-Pull Legs ebook and the final diet right now in the link in the description below.
As you progress on this exercise, you can also add weight, increasing your gains.
Definitely.
Body weight pull-up is also a great exercise for going to failure. At the top of your workout to help pre-exhaust your back muscles, or as a finisher to completely burn out the muscle fibers at the end of your session.
I'm not doing pull-ups at the end of my workout. I'll do it like I might first or second, but I'm not doing it at the end. You know why? Because you're gonna be too tired. Imagine you already did pull downs and some kind of row, and then you're like, let's do some pull-ups. So if you're trying to get stronger at pull-ups, I'd be putting them at the beginning of your workout. No, not at the end. All right, next.
At 2, deadlifts. One of the best overall compound movements.
What? Did I just, hold on a minute. Number 2 is deadlifts. My man started his deadlift from the rack. He took it off the rack and then put it on the ground with his rolled ass back. That's how my man took it off the rack. What is this channel called? Fit Media? Like, come on, guys. Like, let me give you my opinion before we move on. I judge people by action. So when it comes to coaches and trainers, and I watch somebody perform something, for me, if you're a coach and you say you're a coach, your form better be tip-top. I'm talking spot on. If your form isn't spot on, you're not a good coach. I'm sorry. I don't know many coaches in any other sport that are like, hey, I'm a 3-point shooter and I can't score 3-point shots. So when I see people perform things, I'm judging them. And if I'm also seeing them doing some wacky shit, I'm judging them. Let's go. Ugh.
One of the best overall compound movements, working not only the back, but the glutes, hamstrings, and core.
Hey, guess what? Guess what? Fit Media just lost all credibility with their top trainers. Their top trainers said that deadlifts are second. You're gonna...
A few moments later.
Here's what makes a good back exercise, and here's just make you guys clear this, and you can take this home, write some notes. When we can get into the full stretch and a full contraction, full range of motion is gonna trump everything else. What do I mean by that? When the arm can either go from a full hang here, or you're doing it like this, stretching it from here and rowing it in, or stretching it from here and all the way down, is how your lats get bigger. When you're doing a proper deadlift, my peoples out here, my powerlifting people can tell you this. The job of the torso is to be locked. Your body don't need to be doing none of this when you're picking some deadlifts up. It needs to be your brace, which is like your like here to here is stiff as a board, like stiff. You're just like, it ain't bending. It's like this. It's like this remote. It's like that's how stiff it is. It's not doing pulling back, pulling in, pulling. It's not doing that.
Starting light, then building up.
Do me a favor, if you're gonna do deadlifts, leave the damn bar on the ground and load the bar on the ground. Don't take it off and put it into the rack, put weights on it, and then lower it back to the ground. Do you understand how tiring that would be? Like, leave it on the ground. That's an easy one to do for you people with deadlifting. Get a little small 5-pound plate, roll it to the closest plate on the inside, roll it over a little 5-pound plate, and roll it over, and you got enough room to slide the other plates on. Don't do this.
Adding more weight each set. But don't go to failure on deadlift. There's too big a risk of injury.
Failure on
You
deadlift.
can't make up your mind. Add weight each set, but don't go to failure because there's too big of a risk of injury, but this is number 2 on the list. That's confusing. I feel bad for y'all. I'm serious. I'm glad you guys come to my channel because you're coming here just so you can learn without having to go through, I don't know, mental gymnastics with this. Make sure you do a deadlift and add weight each set, and make sure when you're doing each set too that you want to pick it off the ground and lift it up about 3 feet and put it on the rack and then put the weights on and put it back down on the ground and keep doing it. But don't go to failure because the risk of injury is too high. It's like, what do you, oh my.
If you prefer to stay in the safe zone, rack pulls are a great variation.
Again, I'm gonna pick on these dudes still, man, when you're performing something, because most people learn from visuals. And when it comes to gym stuff, you go to the gym and you're looking around for like the best looking girl or guy. You're kind of seeing like, oh look, they're doing an exercise that I'm doing, and I'm gonna see if they're doing it right. They look better than me, so they gotta be doing it right. And you go over and monkey see, monkey do, and you copy the shit and you end up getting injured because they're doing it wrong. Let me tell you something. Every single time I've done rack pulls, not every single time, I would say more than 10 times that I've done rack pulls, I've had that little twinge in my lower back. I'm like, oof. And then that'll be it. And then I have a little bit of pain for like a day, and then it'll go away. And then I'll be like, ugh. But like every single time I would do deadlifts or rack pulls, something like that would happen. Now, not an exercise, I put it number 2. Like,
Seated cable row is one of the most effective exercises for adding muscle in the middle part of the back.
very true. It's a very, very good exercise to do. Now, form-wise, I'm gonna tell my man here to not have his knees so high, because guess what's happening here? He's pulling this thing into his chest. If you want your lats to get engaged, you're doing this, you need to keep your elbows down and then pulling almost in your stomach. That's like your landmark.
Pull the handles in close to the chest.
See this? That's not where you pull. This is why top trainers. See where he's pulling? Can you guys, I pause this right now. See where he's pulling? He's pulling into he's pulling up here. Here. You can still work your traps pulling it the proper way. Shoulder depression. Remember the whole cue I gave you guys? Elbows are gonna push to the floor while you're pulling, right? The secondary muscles are there, or the other, I would say, complementary muscles, but we're still working lats. This is a back exercise.
The single arm option for a greater range of movement.
Regardless if you do one arm or both, it's the same thing. The only way you get a different type of stimulus in terms of like range of motion, if you like kind of twist it a bit, and then I would actually make it stretch a little more, that's it. But like using one arm doesn't give you another range of motion. It doesn't. And what it does is it helps you train unilateral work. Unilateral meaning like one side at a time. It's completely fine to do that. It's very good, but to say it's gonna just help you with better range of motion, that's why you do it? Wrong.
The machine version gives more support for the core and lower back.
But yes, for 100%. When you're doing anything chest support, you're gonna take off some of that extra tension or pressure on your lower back muscle, like your erectors and your stabilizers. So you don't have to stabilize as much, but you still should be engaged while you have chest support. You should.
Or standing for a high cable row.
Angle.
It's happening again.
For the sides.
Okay, what he's basically doing is a neutral grip pull-up or a neutral grip pull-down. We have a lot of overlap here. So when someone says like we got 10 exercises to do, 10 exercises for back, I'm like, I know there's some really good back movements, but like we got some overlap like crazy here. No, dude, no, don't do this. What is going on here? That is unnecessary. Ugh. Where is the range of motion?